Halls of Tribulation. Every Bravely game has had its form of rematch fights against old Asterisk holders. BD1 had all of those chapters, but most importantly the Eternian Central Command boss rush in Chapter 8, and second had the post-Chapter 5 rematches with the Glands Empire, while also expecting you originally to do 3 loops of prologue to Chapter 4. And of course, BD2 offers these 7 portal fights across the continent. By the way, this video is going to be loaded with spoilers, so probably tune off for now if you don't want to know. But there's something about the halls in particular that has always kind of lived rent-free in my head ever since I experienced it. And I just thought I'd rant about that for a little bit today. So if you haven't, make sure to like and subscribe, and since this is the last video of 2023, happy holidays and New Year to you all. So I'll just get this out of the way now. We're probably just going to sweep second to the side for this discussion because they didn't really have anything as closely comparable to BD 1 and 2. And it's not the rewards I'm really looking at either. BD 2's rewards for beating these portals are insane with the extra job levels and the boss weapons and stuff. They're all great and overpowered as hell. What I want to talk about is the fights themselves, how they were organized, and how they compare to player power. I've talked/complained about this once or twice during live streams, but I think the laziest kind of rematch is where they just take a boss, don't add much new things to it, and just increase the numbers absurdly high. I find it especially insulting when bosses start doing stuff really well that they shouldn't be doing just cause of the numbers. Immediate one that comes to mind is Mephilia's Bonk. She's a mage. Her difficulty should revolve around the spells in my opinion, not the basic attacks. That all said and done, BD1 does a really great job with the Central Command Gauntlet. Just doing a skim through them again on gamerguides.com, these are some really interesting boss combinations here. They offer a very good challenge, not only because they have big numbers, but because they are paired together in ways that complement one another. Like, let's just review the second group in the Central Command Rush. You have 2 powerful physical attackers that hit at unconventional parts of the battle, Kikyo at the very start of the turn, and Kamizumi during your moves. You have Heinkel protecting the crap out of everyone, so your single target physicals are just loaded onto him. And then you have Holly in the back line healing and using Reflect to make going wide with magic null and void. It's a very solid composition. Now, is it unbeatable? No, absolutely not. You just have to prepare accordingly. Just set up a potato sack Gigaclad Iron Chad to suck up all the hits, toss Kairai in there to make sure they go to him, and you can probably sort the rest out yourself. And that's always been one of the most impressive things about Bravely to me, is that the player is allowed to be this creative, is expected to get creative and figure out how to min-max their team to survive these fights. Which brings us to BD2. Same kind of idea for the most part. We have 7 Halls of Tribulation where you go up against certain themed boss groups. Portal 1 is an old folks retirement home, Portal 2 is Savalon, and so on and so forth. But of all the portals, there is one that has left its mark on my memory. Halls of Tribulation number 5, or as I like to call it, the Hell Portal. Located in the icy north of Rheimdall, furthest from all God's light and warmth, is a disgusting team comp of the 3 craziest Asterisk holders to date, Castor, Vigentio, and Foley. And I both love and despise this fight. Let's review what each of these little war criminals are capable of. The basic roles break down to this. Castor is the physical DPS, Vigentio is the magic DPS, and Foley is the support. I say support in the loosest possible terms because she would probably just prefer to insta-kill your party. And I don't mean do lots of damage in the same way Castor and Vigentio do. She just does death as a status effect with Star Prism. Choosing your targets in this fight, if you're not going wide, can be difficult. If you take out Castor, then Vigentio's gonna hurt you with his magic and Foley can still insta-kill you, or also join in on the magic bashing. If you go for Vigentio, then you have Castor's attacks hitting your whole party, and then Foley is still there doing insta-kills. And if you wipe the floor with Foley first, then you've got the other 2 probably wiping the party with wide damage of both varieties. Going in with any old team comp is just asking to get your ass clapped. Fortunately, as always, there's some really good team builds and abilities you can use, like Reflect Arcanist, the Forbidden One, Ultima Sword, and so on. Under normal circumstances, these kinds of min-max tactics can make fights fall apart for the most part, like in the Duchy example from earlier. But this is where it gets interesting. See, the reason Portal 5 is so intriguing to me is because it goes beyond just throwing together asterisk holders that will give you a hard time in a group. It's because this is the first real time that the developers decided to play two. Each of the bosses in this fight have access to abilities outside of their own jobs, but are not just boss-exclusive abilities. Caster gets access to not one, but two passives, Drain Attack and Aspir Attack from the White and Black mages. Foley is given rewarding results from the Phantom. And Vigentio, well, there's no Pierce magic defense in this game as far as I'm aware, but it was in BD1, so we'll take those. These few additions make these psychos even more of a nuisance. Now, Caster heals and gets MP back whenever he attacks the entire party, which will keep him in the fight just a tad longer and keep his MP up so he can keep using Flood damage or Death's Door. Vigentio spells hit even harder than they already were, because now your magic defense means literally nothing to him. And Foley, this one's just plain cruel. Giving the status effect focused Pictomancer the ability to immediately act again after successfully applying a status effect, and then making one of those effects Daub, which will weaken your party to all of Vigentio's defense-piercing spells, and another one being just instant death. This is insane. This combination was literally the foundation for the very first BD2 custom build video I did. That's why I'm so impressed by this fight. It's finally something that meets the player at their bullshit power level, and doing it right by making use of in-house abilities and combos that you can then look at and go, maybe I should try that out. And I think that's way more interesting of a concept to entertain than just making numbers big. It's a form of difficulty that I really appreciate, something that is so powerful and yet completely obtainable, so the only thing you can do is play your heart out. I think if this Hall had like an actual dedicated healer added in, this might make for one of the most difficult fights in the entire franchise, because at that point it will have reached equal standing with, or gone even further than the player's own team. But at the end of the day, again, that's what makes Bravely Default so special to me, that we can have bosses like this with their insane strengths and counters and all that, and yet there's still a way we can beat them thanks to the amount of customization afforded to us. It's a real testament to the creativity possible and necessary in the Bravely series. Anyways, that was my little ramble. Had this thought for a while now, and I figured I'd share it to get your perspectives on it. Do you agree or disagree with my opinions here? That Portal 5 is the most interesting boss fight in the series, and that it's the closest to an almost PvP kind of match? Are there other fights that make you think of this as well? Throw them all in the comments for me. I'd love to read through them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.